Do it.
Let's start the run down. What's up first, y'all? What do we got up first? Oh, we starting with the greatest debate. Y'all ready for the greatest debate? Y'all know the greatest debate? Okay, thank you. Y'all already there? Who will history recount as the most significant contribution to the National Basketball Association? Jordan or LeBron of Akron? Pastor Brian.
It's not Chamberlain.
Will Chamberlain. Trying to get out of this argument real quick.
It's no debate.
It's no, oh God.
It's no argument.
It's no Jesus.
The greatest basketball player to ever live
Have ever lived.
is LeBron James. And here's the thing you gotta understand. Here's how we cancel this argument. Here's how we cancel this argument.
Okay.
Here's how we cancel this argument.
How do you cancel? Okay.
Here's how we cancel this argument.
Okay.
Michael Jordan came into the league saying, I'm gonna do one thing. I'm gonna score like crazy.
Sure.
LeBron came into the league, everybody clowned him because he said pass first, pass first, pass
Sure.
first. Scoring is his secondary gift.
Sure.
Passing is his first.
Okay.
And he's the all-time leading scorer of all. His secondary gift, he's the best at it that's ever lived. By the way,
best at his second.
By the way, whenever I talk to Jordan people, the first thing they want to say is, keep it on the court, keep it on the court. Because they know LeBron is the first active billionaire athlete to ever be playing.
Okay.
And they also know that he has a school, and they also know that he has a company.
Okay.
And then at the end of the day, when he's playing with his son, we'll see y'all later on. Bye-bye. Go ahead, keep it 6-0. We'll play with our son, and we'll keep it moving.
Did Jordan's son even play?
What'd you say?
Did Jordan's son even play?
No, we don't know. He don't know either.
He don't know either. What do you got?
Yikes. I'm Team Jordan.
Come on.
I am Team Jordan. Let me tell you why. I'm taking it off the court. So I say the question was phrased, who will history recount as the greatest contributor to the National Basketball Association? Not their personal brand, not their family's legacy.
Who will be
You like basketball because of Michael Jordan, period. I said what I said, and I'm moving on.
Easy.
Period. Cultural icon.
I think it's easy when we're asking the question, who's going to be remembered? People remember rings. So it's going to be Jordan.
It's going to be Jordan.
Period.
We don't remember Bill Russell.
And hold on. He outscored LeBron on average 11 out of like the first 15 seasons.
Thank you.
If you even just look at the trajectory, he reached greatness faster as well.
And he y'all say retired. Y'all say retired, but it was really quick. But go ahead.
Oh my God. Pastor Stephen, go ahead, finish.
Okay, ask me a different question. Ask me who's my favorite player of all time.
All right. Who is your favorite player
LeBron.
of all time? Okay.
Ramon. James.
Ramon of Akron.
Ask me who's the greatest player of all time.
Who is the greatest player of all time?
It's Jordan.
Okay, thank you. All right.
I can't stand him.
You can't stand him?
So here's what settled the argument for me. There's stats, rings, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody said, if you had to pick a starting five to win a championship, who's your first pick?
Jordan. It's not a hard question.
It's Jordan for only one reason. Jordan is a freaking assassin. The man walks on the court, he just blacks out. He don't smile, he don't laugh, it's not a game to him. It's life or death. LeBron,
Can we just clear one thing, just because I hear a lot of people coming at me.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
because they're saying, if I'm such a LeBron fan, why do I keep wearing Jordans? That's what they're saying.
I just want to point out your feet.
When you say
I don't see you no LeBron.
And I just want to clear it up.
I never see you preaching no LeBron.
I just want to clear it up.
Go ahead.
I like to keep the enemy under my feet.
Okay. Question number 2. Let's get out of there. We're out of there. No, sir. I hate it. All right.
Long live King James.
Jesus. Don't be preachy all night. You're just so sanctified.
This is what we're going to do.
So sanctified. All right, here we go. We're moving down the rundown. Here we go. This topic is called speed bump. Speed bump. Somebody asked, I know me. He said, I'm not ready to be married. I hope he's not married.
Too late.
You should have thought about that before you said I do.
But he said, I really like dating. I like the challenge, I like the pursuit, I like the woo, and I like to close deals. Is it bad?
Close deals? Oh, he's smashing.
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry.
Is it bad that I don't want to be...
Yikes.
I'm reading the question the way the man wrote it. Is it bad that I don't want to be married anytime soon? I have thoughts. Keep in mind, we're talking to Union Church, not the internet. I just got to be very clear because internet want us to answer this a different way.
I'm trying to be polite. Go ahead.
No,
go ahead, Brian.
be rude first. You be rude first.
I think it is an oxymoron to say, what did he say? He said, I'm not ready for marriage.
He said he knows himself. He's not ready yet.
I'm not ready for marriage, but I like dating. I think that's an oxymoron.
Okay.
Right? Because I think that dating is to get you eventually to marriage.
Sure.
Which means if you're like, marriage is not my thing, and you are just a dude that likes going on dates, you are a professional dater, and you love the first date because you love the fact that I get to impress you every single time. And I'm afraid that if you actually get to know who I really am, and if you actually get to be in a real relationship with me, then you're gonna find out stuff about me that you won't be able to tell.
Right.
Like for instance, my beard is gray, and I keep putting the black on.
This is Beijing.
If I like impressing you, and I think there are a lot of guys. I'm finding that we are in a day where dudes like attention, and they're actually so addicted to attention that they're afraid of being in a committed relationship because they're afraid of losing the DMs that they get. They like being the single guy that's kind of available that no one can really get. They love to be able to walk in a room with no ring. They love the way women kind of flirt with them. They are so addicted to it that they really don't want to give that up. And so they're saying, I'm having fun dating, even though I really don't want to get married. And that's like going on job interviews and never getting a check. So I don't understand.
Would it be wrong if I said I was that dude? So you, as you were saying it, I was remember being single, and it's kind of, it ain't a bad thing when everybody chasing you.
For a season. It's bad. Can we say ages? Like
put some numbers on it.
I mean, 21.
If you're weighing your options at 21.
Yeah, but it's at a point.
We in church. Women ain't watching. So what's the age?
Man, I think, first of all, guys who are past 35 who are still doing this.
Past 28, you said?
Yeah, you went 35?
Yeah, guys who are past 35, I'm like, stop. It's got to stop.
Any guy who does not want to get married, struggling with sexuality,
there's a list?
Already smashing, so doesn't see anything.
No rush.
Or there's some type of internal wound that I'm covering over with work, with money, got a security bag, blah, 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 blah. But I'm saying that I don't want to get married, but really there's a bigger issue that I don't want to deal with. And I think one of the problems is we've relegated marriage to just sex. Like, especially in the church, when you get married, then you get to have sex. Well, if I've already done that, or I'm already doing that, that's not something really to go after. And we miss the fact that marriage is bigger than just sex. Marriage is where I get to build something that is going to leave an imprint on this earth that I can't build by myself.
Yeah, it's good.
There's so many.
So good.
It's good.
I am the pastor, so I got to throw the Bible in there, right? The Bible says 1 can chase 1,000, 2 can chase 10,000. Not 2 can chase 2,000, 2 can chase 10. I can't tell you how much money I've made just from my wife saying, I don't got a piece about that deal. You need to go back and ask again. You needed. Like, I remember even the house that we live in right now, it was drama, didn't close. I said, babe, I'm fine. I don't need it. We walk away. She's like, no, God said that's our house. We're going to get that house. And she faithed us to the place when I had already given up on it. Wow. And I think so many guys are like, I'm good by myself because they've never experienced the actual supernatural favor that comes when you find your wife.
That part, that's so good.
Moving down the rundown. Pastor Josh, somebody asked, My wife constantly pushes me to have more friends and be more social. Honestly, her friends' husbands are lame.
Oh, stop right there.
Pause.
Stop
Yo.
right there.
Right there.
It's a real
Show
thing.
of hands. How many people in this room you hate your wife's friend's
She's
husband?
watching. She's watching.
She's watching.
Hey, Ken. What's up, dude?
Bruh, they're like, I ain't.
Yikes.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Sorry, no, my husband's friend, my wife's friends' husbands are lame. So between taking care of her and my job, I don't have much energy for much else, especially not fake dating my friends. Am I wrong? Do men need new friends?
I don't think he's wrong, but I do think that there needs to be a conversation.
Sure.
Right? So when my wife may be pushing me to have friends that are her friends, I'm going to ask like, hey, why is that? And I think that it will hopefully lead us to a place of how great do we want this marriage to be, right?
Yeah.
How great do I want my life to be? So our friends probably need to overlap those circles. And if we have the same friends, we're probably going to pursue greatness and get even farther. However, I will say that you ain't got to be her friends as long as you do have some friends. I think the bigger problem with whoever probably is asking that question, they're probably fighting isolation and that need for friendship in general.
Yeah. I think you said the word. It's the most dangerous position for any man in this room to be in is isolated.
By himself.
Yep.
By himself.
Alone.
So whether it's my wife's friends, my connect group, my serve team, my dream team, I cannot maintain an active pursuit of God if my mind is the only thing deciding, what I want, right? It's like you need, like Pastor Tim said in the transition, you need a spotter. You need somebody who can call you out, challenge you, call you higher, but you cannot live life by yourself. So yeah, your wife's friends are lame. That's absolutely true. But that's not the excuse to not have any friends.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have zero sympathy for this person. Zero.
Wow. Okay.
Because you're an extrovert.
Huh?
Yeah.
Because you're an extrovert.
No, like, first of all, I think we gotta get over this idea that I'm supposed to like every single thing that my wife likes that comes with marriage. There's a bunch of stuff that my wife asks me to do that I don't want to do. Yeah. There's a bunch of things that places she wants me to go that I don't want to go. First of all, I'm married to a Hispanic woman, okay? A Latina, okay? I spent the first 10 years of our marriage going to family functions where I had no idea what anybody was saying. I don't know Spanish. I couldn't say I'm not going. I sit there and say, Pastelito, fuego. I'm there, and I'm making friends with people I don't know what they're actually saying. Yeah. We have actually nothing in common. I'm doing it for her. I'm doing it for my wife. Yeah. And I think sometimes we have to get over ourselves and not put ourselves in situations where I only do the things that I like doing. I only talk to the people that I want to talk to. I only go to the functions that I like going. If our wives actually said how many games they don't want to watch and how many family functions
what
they
if
don't
they
want to go
do
to
say it?
and how many, I know they do say it, and they do it. So I said, no, I think at some point you do have to make a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And you do have to say, you know what, these guys, I don't necessarily have anything in common with them, but because of this relationship, and I know that you love these ladies and they're close to you, man, I'm gonna go in there. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make a party out of it.
That's good.
Yeah.
I've said this before. Zai has friends where I don't mess with the husbands. I've got friends where Zai doesn't really mess with the wives at all. But we made a decision probably about 5 years ago that we were going to have about 3 couples that we were going to treat like family. Covenant friendships is what we called them. We're going to love their kids as if they were our nieces and nephews. And after 5 years of committing to that, one of the things that I've realized is sometimes I'm trying to get something to Zai, trying to explain something to her, trying to get her to agree with something, or she's trying to do the same thing with me. And when I'm able to go to that wife and say, hey, can you explain it to my wife? Because I'm not speaking her language. I don't know how to quite get this. Or she'll talk to that husband, hey, can you talk to Stephen or whatever it may be? It's almost like unofficial marriage counseling. And we've been able to get through things so much faster just by having another couple who's walking with us and doing life together. So I can't scream it enough.
Come on.
Whether you're single and don't want to get married, whether you're married and don't have any friends, if you do life alone, you are not making the progress that you could make if you had other people around you.
It's good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Let's keep moving down the rundown. I like this next one. It's called Red Flag. Y'all were at singles night? No, many fellas in here at singles night? Red Flag? No, this is called back from singles night. I'm in the dating phase. And I started to see small character flaws. Things
Run
like,
for your life!
Run, things like boundary issues and obsessive behavior. And I noticed she lacks a little discipline. So how long should I wait to see if these are deal breakers? Somebody in the audience just said you waited long enough.
Yeah.
Y'all can jump in. One thing I find is a lot of people, men, are conflict adverse. So we see something we don't like, and instead of addressing it, we just run. Because when should I say this is a red flag that I need to run? After you've addressed it and she's done nothing about it. But if you've never said, hey, I don't think your mom should go on date night with us.
Yo.
Or whatever it may be. If you've never brought it up and said, hey, this bothers me, this concerns me, and you're just kind of keeping, your sheet. The Bible says love keeps no record of wrong. If you're not saying, hey, this ain't cool, that ain't cool, that ain't cool, but you're just kind of making, and we're assuming they're dating and not married, because if they're married, you can't leave. But I think if you're dating someone, yes, you got to figure out, can I live with their issues? But I think if you don't bring it up and don't give them a chance to change, then it's not fair, and you kind of probably didn't love them anyway, so probably still shouldn't.
How do you bring it up? So it's at the beginning of the relationship. Hopefully this person hasn't gone months and months and months without saying anything, not communicating. So how do you bring it up, though, at the beginning of the relationship once you're starting to develop that trust?
We've gone on 6 dates, and you chew your mouth open for all of them. So on date 7, this is going to sound really rude.
So what I was going to say is, how do you bring it up? You bring it up by asking questions instead of making statements. But you said chew with your mouth open. The first thought came to my mind is like, your food would taste a lot better if it didn't have so much air in it.
Sorry, that's triggered. I'm triggered right now.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think asking questions instead of making statements is disarming. So, hey, we have boundary issue. Hey, where do you think this leads? What's your intention by this? How do you think somebody else would see that? And sometimes they're just not that bright, and they're not going to get the leading questions, and then you got to be a lot more direct. But I think it's important to bring it up and not just run.
Yeah, 2 things I would say is, number one, this is why not having sex before marriage is so important. Because sex clouds your judgment, and it causes you to put up with things that you wouldn't otherwise put up with, or excuse certain things. If I know it's,
come on.
Or excuse certain things. Y'all totally missed that. Yes. The other piece for me is that whenever I tell people, if you're dating someone, I always say that if you're dating a woman, you should have some woman in your life, whether it be an older sister, whether it be a mom, whether it be a pastor, whomever, who can just check her out. Even if it's just for a second. I had the type of mother, it only took her 2 seconds. My mother would just have to get around her just for 2 seconds. She'd say, that's a good woman right there. Or she'd say, trash,
she ain't the
get
one.
out of here, trash, trifling. There's all kinds of stuff. And I think sometimes guys try to say, man, I know what I'm looking at. Yep. You don't always know what you're looking at as a guy. Sometimes you need a woman in your life with some wisdom, who's a friend, who's a mentor, or something, who can come in and tell you, oh, that's not that bad. Like, I know you think that's bad, but trust me, we can work through that. And I think not enough guys are getting that kind of wisdom from women in their life.
Yeah,
that's great.
Is no sex before marriage realistic?
That's not in the rundown.
That's not in the rundown. I'm just asking whatever question I want. It's my church. I can do what I want. Is that realistic in 2023? I mean, back in the 60s, they were getting married at 14, but that ain't today. Sheldon.
Is it realistic?
For a man of God.
Woo. Feel like you're ready.
The Saints want to
Talking
know.
about it.
It has to be.
It has to
It
be.
has to be. Yeah, it is realistic. You're gonna need faith, you're gonna need community, you're gonna need the right recipe to bake this thing, to bake this purity. I'm using a horrible analogy, but it's absolutely trying to stay out of the sex conversation, but here we go. It is realistic. I absolutely think it's realistic.
That's all you got?
All I'm committing to in this conversation.
That's all you're committed to?
Pastor Brian.
We a little iffy on this one.
No.
Good God.
I got a couple of things. I got a couple of thoughts. Number one, it is realistic if I plan on going from dating to marriage within a year.
Yeah.
It's
Come on
not
now.
realistic if I plan on dating for
5
3
years.
Yes, it should
Yeah.
take me 90 days to be like, all right, I think we got something.
Yeah.
And then it should take about 4 seasons to say, I've seen you, you see me in all seasons, and like, all right, we kind of got something. It takes a year to be like, yo, we should be able to make a decision on whether we're trying to get married. So I think that what's making it unrealistic is 2 things. Number one, people's timeline is just ridiculous. I think 2, the way we're dating, there's not enough conversation, there's not enough talking. Y'all are movied out. Don't take her to the movies no more, okay? Y'all seen every movie there is. Sit down and talk and have a conversation. And then 3, what has happened is we have over-sexualized ourselves. So I believe this. I believe that God has given every man a normal sex drive.
Okay.
And that sex drive can be managed and can be kind of with some self-control. But I think what has happened is we have added so much fuel to the sex drive, from pornography to music to movies, that now what was a normal sex drive is an animalistic, I'm gonna lose my mind, I'm gonna die if I don't get me some, I can't breathe.
It be that way sometimes.
It is. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like because now it's in overdrive.
Yeah.
Now I'm not just dealing with something that's normal. I'm dealing with something that's demonic. And so now I got to do all this extra stuff to either feed it or to fight it. And that's what's making it tougher. But I think God's got to make a decision quicker. I don't think it takes that long. And I think God's are taking too long, and that's what's making it feel unrealistic.
I think life is happening to a lot of men, and men aren't happening to life. So there's not an intentionality of I want to live holy, I want to build a family, this is where I want my life to be, and this is what I'm going after. And whether you think about money, you think about networking or whatever, nothing in your life happens without a plan and without intentionality. But we've got no plan in this area, particularly if I lost my virginity before I came to Christ. So I created an appetite before Jesus. Now I've met Jesus, but all of a sudden I just think because I prayed a prayer, appetite's supposed to be gone. And without a game plan, without intentionality, without an actual intended vision for my future, it's not going to happen.
One of the things that, Pastor, you talk about in Stop Waiting for Permission is that vision.
Shameless plug. Get the
There you
book.
go.
Go ahead.
Vision, you say vision and faithfulness alone isn't able to get you there, right? That self-discipline is needed. I agree that we're created with this sex drive, but I think we lose sight that we're also given the spirit of discipline. That biblically, here's what's dangerous, is that if I don't learn the discipline now, I'll have to learn it post-marriage in a different area. So I would rather learn the lesson right now than later on the hard way.
A lack of discipline is transformative. That's good.
Last thought.
The clock is gone. The clock left.
What's the big deal? I think a lot of even Christians are like, I don't see what the big deal is. Like, yeah, we sin, God will forgive us, messed up or what. And I don't think people realize that when I do life God's way, God works with me. and opens doors and perfects my future. And the Bible says when I don't do things God's way, it's not that he's neutral. He actually starts working against me, closing doors and destroying my future. And a lot of Christian men don't realize that when I live life opposite to God's way, he's closing doors. He's ripping up contracts. He's taking dreams that we've had and said, no, you don't get this because I can't trust you with it. It's not just about the act. It's not even just about I want righteousness or whatever it may be. It's that we're actually destroying the future that we say that we want by living life opposite to the way God says.
So good.
But it was never a question, so let's just.
It's never a question. Back from this commercial break. Next topic on the rundown. Like father, like son. So my son's 15. Not my son, this guy's son. He's 15. And I can see him headed down the path that God rescued me from. But I've protected him from knowing a lot of the things from my past. So what do? I'm starting to feel like a hypocrite telling him not to do the stuff that I did, but I'm fine.
It ended with you're fine?
I mean, he got a lot of...
You ain't fine.
Yeah,
you ain't fine. You ain't fine. You ain't fine.
It's always the questions with the hubris at the end that I'm like,
I'm good.
I'm great.
Yeah, my dad's in the room.
Pops, close your ears. Pastor's going to tell us something.
I think one of the biggest mistakes that we as parents make is to project to our kids something that we are not really. And they can smell a $2 bill a mile away. And I think some of us, we live one way, we got saved, and then now we project this super holy, never sin, always been in church, and it doesn't help our kids at all because they're living in a real world with real life and real temptations. And if you look at somebody and say, hey, I touched that stove and I burned myself. I'd really appreciate you if you don't touch that stove because I don't want you to go through the pain that I went through. Then all of a sudden, I'm not being a hypocrite. I'm saying I've done that, I've experienced that pain, and I'm trying to protect you from that pain. But if I just say, don't touch the stove, and because you can't handle it, because it's bad, because it's sin, because it's wrong, or whatever it may be. I don't know about you, but I'm just the type of person, you tell me not to do something, I'm gonna do it. Just because you can't tell me what to do. I don't know what that is, that ain't Jesus. But I think if we're not willing, you don't gotta tell your kids all your dirt. Some of it's age appropriate. You don't gotta tell you. But I think to a certain extent, it has to be, here's who your dad was before Jesus. Here's who your dad is after Jesus. And I really don't want you to have to take as long of a detour as I took. And that's why I'm trying to protect you from that. Even if you've been saved for 3 weeks.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I grew up in the house of a professional football player. And this question is about a 15-year-old. And I remember very distinctly at 15, my dad was saved, but like only on Sundays. Like he was saved. Like we went to church, but I don't know what we did the other 6 days a week. And so I remember at 15, I don't know, girlfriend, whatever, my dad would like drop little hints like, hey, make sure you know, when you hug her, like just check it out, like see how it feels, like hold it extra second, like, or whatever. Like, oh, y'all going to the movies? What y'all going? Like, it was almost like he was encouraging, not encouraging, he was proud. He was like, this is my boy. Like, hey, yo, like do it the way I would do it. And I took a lot of that. It took a lot of therapy and healing and prayer, but like there was some toxicity, some unhealth being developed at 15 because I thought I was making my dad proud. I thought this is what I was supposed to be doing. So I was aggressive the way my dad was like, yo, boy, go up there and tell her what you think. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I thought that was the way, like, I hear this, when I read this question, I was like, yeah, this was me. My dad was the opposite. He wasn't protecting me. He was like
pushing you into it.
Yeah, like, hey, boy, that's what we do. Like, you're an Andrews, boy. Like, like, what do you like? Talk to that dad. Talk to my dad, who would be sitting in this room and be like, "Yo, be easy on him because you're creating, like we just said, an appetite for something that he is really."
Romans 12:2 says we're transformed by the renewing of our mind. then we experience good, pleasing, and perfect. And I think whether you grew up like I did with an amazing dad who's an awesome pastor, an awesome father, or whether you grew up with a dad who, you said NFL player? Y'all had money. You never told me that before, bro. Dad, because you was loaded. We talk afterwards.
I'll tell you what he spit on you.
But we all have some renewing of our mind to do practically and intentionally. Last thing before we close, just to celebrate my dad. One thing that my dad did right, he did a lot of things right, and I'm trying to do it for my son. My dad never forced me to be a pastor. He never forced me to do anything that he wanted me to. Yeah, I got to clean, obey, and all that kind of stuff. But instead of forcing me down one path, he allowed God to reveal to me what God's called me to do, and also celebrated the gifts inside. I want Roman to be a pastor so bad, but like I won't let anybody call him a pastor. I'm like, I'm gonna let God develop in him. And I think it's one thing to try to protect our kids from bad, but I think we also need to encourage the good that God has placed inside of them, celebrate it without trying to control them and push them where we think they should go.
That's good. You want to keep moving down the rundown?
Let's go.
Next question, next topic, herbal remedy.
Oh.
Wow. We here.
Is it acceptable to partake? Hey, y'all shout out to our creative team for that.
Where's that graphic?
What is that?
Yo.
Y'all, delete your search history.
I didn't know Mary Jane got invited tonight.
I've grown up in a strict home, but I've developed a pretty normalized sense of my faith and grace and all that good stuff. Occasionally I'll enjoy a glass of wine with my wife, but we don't overindulge. But I'm wondering, as our culture starts to relax our laws around the Mary Jane, is it acceptable to partake?
What do you think, J-Dub? You smoked a lot of weed.
Hey, yo! Okay.
Pastor just throwing out the testimony and sharing your story.
For Christ. Sheesh.
It's legal in Maryland
It's legal.
now.
Man.
DC is just a drive away.
So
It is. Oh, sorry.
I think, man, I'm gonna answer it how from my personal standpoint,
There you
like using my story, right? So
Okay.
if
You did smoke a lot of weed. I was making it up.
I
Oh,
told
dang.
on myself, sorry.
Snitching on himself.
I think that the first thing is like, okay, cool. So like whatever culture does, obviously, like if that entices me or excites me, there's probably some more flesh that I need to deal with.
Yeah.
But I would say that for me, I know that I have an addictive personality. So even though the conversation may not be about something addictive, I am, and I have the potential to be. And so I think it's measuring, okay, cool. If I know for me that I have an addictive personality, man, and it's a part of what I've struggled with, a part of what I'm embarrassed about, what it led me to, I think that's the part. Like whether it's right, wrong, legal or not, in my opinion, what does it lead to and where does it get you? Sure. To me, it led me to decisions that I would be embarrassed to talk about on a platform. Sure. So why would
Like what? I'm messing.
Pastor's like, hey, whoa, don't go there.
I'm trying to push you over the edge.
No, you're good. No, but I think at the end of the day, too, though, it's like, man, we can't make decisions based on what someone says other than God's word and the authority it holds in my life.
Yeah.
Question.
Sure.
Is it possible to smoke weed and not get high?
It depends. I'm just kidding.
That's
I'm just kidding.
That's like,
Not if you do it right.
that's like, is it possible? I mean, like, I'm trying to think of a good analogy.
Be careful.
No, right? No, okay, sorry, y'all don't know. No, it's not. I'm also a part of Josh's testimony service. We got delivered.
So you know, yeah,
It's not possible.
it's not possible.
It's like saying like drinking bourbon and not getting drunk. Like you just put it in your mouth and spit it out, but that's not how it works. Not glorifying them. Just
So the Bible says that inebriation is a substitute for the Holy Spirit. That either I will rely on the peace, the comfort, the joy, all that other kind of stuff that the Holy Spirit brings, or I'm gonna look for a substitute, which is being drunk, being high, or whatever it may be. And I think if you sit back, forget culture, forget laws, forget all of that other good stuff, and what it really comes down to is two things. One, am I really a follower of Jesus? And two, what Paul said, have I really died to myself? Yeah. Is it really no longer me making the decisions, but it's God who's making the decisions in me? Yeah. Because if I am truly a follower of God and it's no longer me making the decisions, it's God who's making the decisions in me, is there anything that replaces the Holy Spirit that I should tolerate in my life as a follower of Jesus? And that's pretty black and white. But,
oh man.
Is it legal in Charlotte? No, I'm joking.
Well, first of all, if this is going to be first take, get off the weed. Stop the weed. Get off the weed, Stephen A.
Get off the weed.
I have so many thoughts going through my head.
Yeah.
And I have a strange analogy that's in my head because I have a lot of guys who want to be polygamous now, right? And
oh gosh, how do we get here?
Because they're always like, man, can I have 3 wives? Can I have 4 wives? Can I have 5 wives?
I can barely afford the one I got.
That's so expensive.
Yeah, it's becoming a thing. And I'm like, hey, why isn't one wife enough? What is so broken in you that you aren't fulfilled with one wife? Mm-hmm. And I think I ask the question sometimes, like, why isn't Jesus enough? Like, why do you need to add sage to Jesus? Why do you need to add, like, crystals to Jesus? Jesus alone is enough to fulfill and satisfy and complete and to make whole. And he doesn't need any addition.
Yeah.
And I think even using the same analogy about my wife, like if you had the best day of your life, and imagine before I got home to my wife, I shared that best day of my life with a friend, right? And by the time I got home, my wife said, what happened today? I was like, oh, I'm good. I've already talked about it, or I had the worst day of my life. And before I got home to talk to my wife about it, I went and told a friend. And by the time I got home and she's like, what happened? I'm like, it's already worked out. It's like sometimes God is waiting for this intimate moment with you. And you've already given this to weed. You've already worked out your best day with some marijuana. Bro, and the Lord is sitting there like, man, I was waiting for us to have a moment for me to fill you and for me to complete you. And you took our moment and you gave it to some substance. And I think that hurts the heart of God when we do that.
Yeah. Sheesh.
I think one of the problems with Christians today is we're really worried about fitting into culture instead of standing out from culture. So it's like, oh, but it's legal now. Oh, but it's medicinal. Oh, but it's, not addictive or whatever it may be. And I think everything about our faith, even the fact that we're called the church, it means the called out ones, not the fit in ones. And I think Christianity today is just so insecure. And you said, is Jesus enough? That we just want to fit in with everybody else instead of stand out and be who God's called us to be.
So good.
Next one.
Moving down the rundown.
We got 2 more.
2 more. Retirement.
Come on.
What does godly ambition look like? This question is, my goal and obsession is to retire at 45. Me too, Doc. Me too.
Really? You want to retire at 45?
My boss isn't in the room. Is there something ungodly about my ambition? What does godly ambition look like? What's the check? Hustle hard.
If somebody says they want to retire at 45, I'd say you have no ambition.
Gee. Oh, whew. What do you mean?
Wow. Anything worth accomplishing can't be accomplished by 45. Now, we live in a culture where it's like, I want to retire by 40. I think what people really are saying is, I want to have enough money to do whatever I want to do and not have to work some job I hate. Mm-hmm. And then my response to that is, well, why are you working a job that you hate now? because you will never maximize your income or fulfillment at some place you hate.
Wow.
Yeah.
However, this whole, I just want to make enough money to lay on the beach and drink pina coladas and do nothing. Like, what a miserable existence. You got no battle to fight. You got no vision to fulfill. You have no goal to accomplish. You've got no purpose. Get all the money you can, but having money is not the end goal. The end goal is I put a mark here on earth that nobody else can put, that God put me here to have. And that's worth running after for the rest of your life. Sorry. I feel real strongly about that one.
And can we just be honest?
Go for it.
Like, where is this coming from? It's coming from Instagram. Like you are on Instagram. You're seeing some guy saying, man, I'm 45 and I'm retired. I'll sell you a product.
For $19.95 a week.
I'll sell you a product so you can have the life that I'm lying to you about me having right now.
That part.
And I think that's what we really got to deal with. We got to deal with the fact that you're trying to live a life that you ain't checked out. You don't know these people personally. You ain't seen it up close. You have no idea what's actually going on in this person's life. You are trying to keep up with a reel, and reels aren't real. I don't know.
That's a mic drop right there. That's
Reels aren't real.
So good.
Because you cannot capture something real in 60 seconds. It's not even possible. So for me, I'm like, you gotta get off Instagram and you gotta actually live a real life. Because if you try to keep up with who you see on social media, you're going to be shocked. P.S. you're in many rooms. You know a lot of these people personally. Dude. I'm getting there because of you. I'm getting there too.
Come on now.
I'm getting a couple of rooms. And what I'm learning is that what you see on the screens is not what's happening in an actual person's life. And I hate that you are speeding up your life, because that's what you're doing. You're trying to rush through years. And a lot of guys now, especially guys, even this whole I'm not getting married thing, it is, I'm going to go crazy, make all this money, then at 45, I'm going to settle down and find somebody, and I'm going to give her the world. And the reality of it is that when you really meet the people who are teaching this to us, their life does not match up with what they're saying on Instagram.
So good.
That's good.
So good.
I'm gonna get in trouble. There ain't no women in the room, right? They all watching online though.
They're definitely watching online.
When you said I'm gonna get all the money I can and then at 45 I'm gonna settle down, here's a thought that came to my mind. One of the biblical roles of a man is to be a protector. Protector of our wives, protector of our kids. When I wait until whenever I've secured the bag to get married, I've left her exposed for over a decade. And by the time I go find her and settle down, the enemy has so destroyed her confidence, jacked up her identity, that when I finally look to build, what I'm building with is so broken that it's not fun to build anymore. And we're like, oh, family messed her up, this messed her up, that messed her up. No, maybe you were supposed to be the protector from the enemy 15 years prior, but you were too busy securing the bag to not realize once bag's secured, bag's not fun if I don't have somebody to enjoy
Come on.
it with.
And now I'm 45. I spent all my time working, so I didn't have any kids or do anything,
Come on.
So now I'm 45, I'm retired, I'm ready to settle down. And so now I'm looking for somebody 25. So that I can finally build my family. So now I got 45-year-olds who are trying to be 21 in the club trying to meet somebody. And women their age are like, what's going on? What's up? And it's like, oh, I've wasted all your years trying to build my career. And now I'm going to waste some 21-year-olds. It's a sad life. It's a sad cycle that I see it constantly.
I'm going to jump ahead down the rundown because I like this question. I want us to talk about it tonight. The subject is He-Man. Question is, how do you define...
Says she-man?
No, he.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Well, that's where we're going. So the way I was raised, men don't cry. We don't have feelings, we suck it up and we move on. So my girlfriend is frustrated because I don't express myself. Thinks she's trying to turn me into one of her girlfriends. Not in touch with your feminine side.
Tell us about your feminine side, Sheldon.
I do think that we have a tendency to like mislabel what we don't understand a lot in culture. And so I think men who are articulate, expressive, have a penchant or a bend towards creativity or just being able to see the world throughout, in a more complex way. We can't understand it, so we identify it as something non-masculine. And I think that a real authentic masculinity is a man who understands and knows what he wants.
Come on. I think one of the things I remember, Pastor, that you said in I don't know what space it was in, but you talked about how you know that as a male you're getting unhealthy when you found yourself not crying in the presence of God consistently. Doesn't mean daily, but I think for me in seasons where I'm maybe not crying with my wife or not crying with my pastor and my brothers and those who I'm walking with, it gets dangerous when I start to not weep in God's presence because I know that I'm not completely and fully open anymore to his presence. Psalms talks about how, and this is David, right? So he talks about how God collects the tears that we cry. If God's collecting something from me, it must mean I have something for him to collect.
That's good.
I don't cry.
Ever?
I count on one hand. And it is, I don't want to go too deep into this because this is a current marriage counseling conversation, so we can't. No, I mean, maybe too transparent, but this has been like one of Zai's frustration is like, Stephen, you don't show emotion. Like when you're angry, you're here. When you're happy, you're here. You're just like even keeled. And I've always prided myself in that because I'm like, women aren't as emotional. Like men are consistent and all that other good stuff. And one of the things that I've realized through counseling is that I express emotion. I just do it differently. So I walk in the house one day and be like, man, I'm not doing very well. And, this is TMI. But because she's used to when someone's not doing well, they're bawling, crying, and, pulling out their hair. And are there no women in their room?
No, we keep them all
They
out.
stop doing their hair and they don't put no makeup on and they start looking. You can tell they ain't doing right. Sorry.
Yikes.
Ain't that what men's night for?
Yes, sir.
Take that bonnet off your head. We know you're not doing well. Pull it together.
Get that bonnet off. The bonnet is a tell. Multiple days.
And what we've learned is some women need to learn how men communicate. And when he said he's not doing all right, he just shared emotion.
Sure. Yeah.
Don't expect him to be in his bed in a fetal position crying his eyes out.
Yeah.
He's expressing, but we just don't speak the same language. Now, I've learned not expressing any emotion is gonna kill you.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a heart attack and ulcers and all this other kind of stuff because you're bottling it up and you don't have a healthy release. So I think it's a balance. I ain't for all these emotional men either. I was crying on somebody's shoulder and just, what happened? My tire on my car blew and I just had a bad day. Just be a doggone man. Like, get a spine. Grow some chest hair. Like,
Grow some chest hair.
I think there's a balance. All right, last one.
Last one. Oh, this is great.
Make it
It's
good.
called Second Seat. Guys, I'm jumping around in the production room. Second Seat. How do I communicate my needs? This question is ridiculous. Y'all ready for it? How do I fight not feeling like I'm taking a second seat to my kids when it comes to alone time with my wife? Wait for it. The kids are getting put to bed and I'm not.
You just answered this. You just answered this.
Hey yo, I love. Who writes these? I'll put you to bed. Hey yo,
Mommy gonna put us to bed tonight.
Last question. Come on, babe.
Oh man,
Babe, the kids sleep? Yeah, me too.
you can't answer this because you got a
just
newborn.
had-
I got a
so
3-month-old. Y'all got to
You
figure this one
forcing him
out.
right now. You ain't.
Yep.
Just now.
Dub ain't fiddling nothing. He's just.
Man, it's on me.
Go ahead, yo.
I think that, first of all, I went through this. I went through this. So my wife, I'm trying to think now, maybe like year 9. Well, my kids are 8. My oldest daughter's 8, so probably year like 7, we had our first child, which means for 7 years, it was me and this girl. I had all her attention, all her time, everything. When my daughter was born, I lost my wife. 100%. She was gone. She was into this baby, and I was stunned.
Baby, come back.
I didn't know. I did not know that I was depressed or even stressed, but I totally was until we got out of it. And for a season, you may lose your spouse to that child, and this is where you just got to be a man. And I know that phrase, what does that really mean? But at the end of the day, you got to be okay with the fact that for a season, she's bonding with this child, and you want that bond to happen. Some practical things, though, that you can do.
It's not bonding for 4 years.
No, not bonding for 4 years. There's a season.
There's a Union Church thing that a season's 4 months.
Oh.
Okay.
Spring's 4 months, summer's 4 months, fall's 4. Anything after 4 months is no longer a season, it's now a pattern.
That's good.
Oof. So I think sometimes we say, man, I'm in a season of, how long you been in that season?
That's good.
3 years?
No,
That's
sir.
Unless you live in Canada,
Antarctica.
winter don't last for 3 years. It's
The best thing you can do and I still live this way now. I have an 8-year-old and a 7-year-old. When I meet somebody, one of the first things I'm thinking is, are you a potential babysitter? Like I'm automatically like, now, do my kids like, if I see my kids running around a person, I'm thinking we might be onto something. Because get in here. I line them up. I line up babysitters. Because for me, I recognize that to put that kind of pressure on my wife, because I'm saying to you, hey, make sure you put the kids to bed at a decent time and then give me all the time and attention that I need. That's impossible to do every single night for a period of time. So I've learned to have babysitters. We've learned to put them kids on a clock. We've learned, I did make the mistake. I'm gonna just put it out there. I did make the mistake. Y'all gonna be mad at me. Y'all gonna scream at me. I made the mistake of letting my kids sleep in my bed for a couple of days. I know. Okay,
come on, man.
I know. But and so it took time to kick them out and get rid of them and teach them how to unlock the door and let them cry outside and all that other good stuff. But I think as men, we got to do more practical stuff. Yeah. Even if it's not like me personally I can't put the kids to bed because they see me, they see party. Mm-hmm. So they're going to party all the time when they see me. But I've learned to set my wife up in so many different ways that she feels supported and feels assisted so that she has the energy, my God, to put...
I need you limber and rested
up to do that and then come do this. All right, praise God.
I got an unpopular opinion, though.
Oh.
Okay, I got an unpopular opinion.
Okay.
Most of us...
I know why he has an unpopular opinion.
Most of all of us go to work. Mm-hmm. We get home, got kids, dinner, you're tired. I don't think we talk about the part about, are you giving her something to look forward to?
That's good, Joe.
Right? She's been with the kids all day. Are you coming home stressed, tired? Like, I'm sorry, but are you actually attractive?
Do you see me choking down this joke right now?
He's going around the bend there. He's saying,
he may not be giving him something.
Is it putting in work?
No, I just really mean that. I'm like, if you let distance in between you during the kids phase, I haven't tested this theory, so correct me if I'm wrong, all right? But I'm like, if you would let too much distance in between that, now that's normal. Now this is our normal thing. We're just distant, and this is just the regular play.
Wait, are you saying that you're irresistible? Like you're saying
I do.
At night,
my wife finds me very irresistible.
Listen.
Hey, yo.
Sorry.
Oh, man.
Show me what you got.
Talk that talk,
I'm being
Jay
so behaved right now. I ain't say. Oh, I want to say so bad.
Simply irresistible.
Grace.
I'll say what our wives want us to say.
Okay.
I wouldn't be so exhausted if you did something around the house.
For sure.
Us.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I put my kids to bed in 3 minutes or less. Listen, I hope my kids aren't watching. We don't do story time. Hope my wife's not watching. Sometimes we don't bathe.
Get to that man. I got something to do.
We're gonna brush the teeth. We always pray. Throw them in the crib. Lock the door.
See y'all when the
threaten
sun
their
comes
life
up.
if you ever come out this room.
I was gonna say,
I will
I've seen
make
you put your kids to bed.
You see me?
I've seen you put your kids
You've been
to
in
bed.
my house, and I came back in like 5 minutes.
It was more like threatening them to bed, but it was more like boom,
I will
boom,
make
boom,
you
boom.
disappear. Make another one just like you. But I do think.
Whoa.
Oh, that's great.
I do think that we have to be intentional to remove all excuses.
Sure. That's good.
What do you worry about? I did the dishes. Kids are in bed. Door's locked.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
I think the other thing, and it goes back to the first question we had about red flags. A lot of men are non-confrontational. And they never want to have the conversation, hey, babe, this ain't working. And we're mad at her for something we've never said.
That's good.
And that's just not fair. And don't have the conversation when you're furious and you're mad and you laying on the bed angry and she's knocked out sleep and you just... Sorry, it took me to a moment. Anyway. But when in times of peace, you need to, write up a game plan. Write up a vision of, hey, what are we gonna do in this area? Because at some point, them kids leave. And when they leave and y'all two is all you have left, you're gonna realize I've lost connection with the person that I gotta spend the rest of my life with.
That's good, Pastor. So good.
Man, that's a dark place to end. That's a wrap up.
Great. Y'all, help me thank all of our panelists tonight on part of the Interruption Men's Night edition. Thank you.